How's it going, guys? This is Najam. Welcome back to another video. Now in this video I'm going to review the Head Audio headphones. So I've actually been meaning to review these for the past 2 weeks or so, but I haven't really had the time. I've been really busy, but I have a day off today and I thought I might as well just get these out of the way. So I've been using these as my daily driver for listening to music only, actually, for more than 2 or 3 weeks now. In this review I'm going to talk about the sound quality. I'm going to talk about the sound quality first because that's what most people want to know, so I'll just get onto that really quickly. I'll also talk about the comfort and fit, and also talk about the size and the weight, and then the build quality and stuff later on. So let's just get straight into it. I'm just going to talk about the sound quality right now. In the past, when I reviewed headphones, I did say, certain headphones have like a really 3D sound stage, and some headphones have a really wide sound stage. Now these are really big, so they sort of almost don't fit in the view on this camera. So you have different types of sound stages. Even with in-ear monitors you have different sort of sound stages. I've heard out of your head sound stages and just normal sound stages, wider sound stages. I've heard really flat sound stages, and some headphones do have a lot of depth, and so I've heard some headphones that kind of have a 3D effect. Now when I listen to these just blew me away. The sound stage out of these headphones is the thing that stands out the most, and compared to other headphones of which I've said that they have 3D sound stages, scratch all that. These headphones have a proper 3D sound stage. Compared to the other headphones, even the HiFiMan Sundaras, these in sound stage wise, these are on a completely different level. So when I first started listening to these, when I got them out of the box, the thing is, these are way too holophonic, just way out of this world. Holophonic all over the place. My brain didn't really understand how holophonic and the way they sounded, so it didn't really sound right to me. When I first put them on and I started listening to them, I had to sort of take a break for like an hour or two. And when I came back, my head sort of processed the information, and I had gotten a bit more accustomed to these. And it took about 4 or 5-ish hours for me to get used to them, as in properly. Obviously, you do that slowly over time. But when I first put them on, they sounded way too holophonic. When my head got used to it, these had the most incredible soundstage I have ever heard on across all of the headphones I've got. So I've been using these with the Hugo 2, and the audio source that you do use is also going to have an effect on that. Now I believe that if you keep this system as simple as possible, it's going to sound the best. So I've only got like a music player that does a USB out into the Hugo 2, and then I just plug these headphones into the Hugo 2 to listen. So it's really simple, and I mean, the Hugo 2 sounds amazing. These really show that. The soundstage on these is just mind-blowing. It's jaw-dropping. It's crazy. So the soundstage is also not really wide, not in the sense as something like the HD800, which make everything sound really wide. These have a soundstage that's really big, and not only that, it's really spacious, and it also has as much depth, so that's forward and backwards, as well as some width to it. So these have an amazing soundstage. The way they sort of set the atmosphere is not something that I've heard on other headphones, because it's like you can feel the whole air in the whole atmosphere and the sound. And when it comes to binaural audio, these are absolutely amazing. So I was listening to Pink Floyd, A Momentary Lapse of Reason, and the first song, first track in the album is Signs of Life, which has a binaural audio in it. It's a binaural recording, and you've got the pier, and you've got the wooden boat that you can hear creaking and hitting the pier, and you can also hear the waves. And this put me in such a place that, I mean, it's just crazy. You're gonna have to listen to it was just so real. And I've said this with other stuff as well. When I went from the Mojo to the Hugo 2, when I went from like a dynamic driver to like a planar, it just sounded a bit more real. Now these do the same jump, but just like when I went from the Mojo to the Hugo 2, it was a big jump, and this is a big jump from the Sundaras to, well, the headphones. It's a big jump in how real it sounds. So the soundstage is really big. The imaging and just the positioning and everything is absolutely spot on. When things are really, really far away in tracks like Pink Floyd's On the Run, you can actually hear it really off in the distance. And the detail that it picks up in the soundstage on each tracks is really, really good. It's not as good as an Electrostat, but I might actually talk about that in just a moment, unless I just forget about it. The detail that it picks up is exceptional. You can hear each individual track as just like you'd expect, really, really distinctly within the whole recording and within the soundstage. And you can hear the separation between one track and the other behind it, really, really further in the distance. That's really, really cool. And this kind of sort of experience I've not really heard on other headphones. Now they have gone closer to this sort of sound with Electrostats. They have exceptional imaging and everything. They're very, very similar, but they do have better detail and better speed than these. So that's one thing that they do take away. And I might as well just mention it now. As far as the higher frequencies go, while this is an AMT driver and it is a tweeter, the Electrostats, in my opinion, from my experience, they do have the better higher frequencies, and the way the higher frequencies sound in the the whole sound. The Electrostats are more open sounding. In fact, they're as open as you're gonna get with the high frequencies. So Electrostats, the high frequencies are absolutely sublime. I guess even using these now, I do kind of miss those high frequencies. I wish these had them. So these do have a little bit of air around the high frequencies. It's really amazing. It's actually quite nice. It's probably one of the best I've heard. Not as good as an Electrostat. So that's the only limit. So soundstage wise, it's amazing. I mean, I've not heard a different headphone that sounds better than this. When you do listen to different types of music, the way it just spaces them out in the soundstage is just amazing. You're gonna want to have a listen to this to just get the experience. And a lot of people have said on Instagram or whatever that these headphones sound amazing because of the soundstage and the tonality in the way they sound and stuff. And I would sort of agree. I do think that they do sound really, really amazing. These are my headphones that I use for music, period. Nothing ever comes really close to these, just based on the whole soundstage. And of course, it's not all just about the soundstage. It's about the other things as well, which these do really, really well also. Speaking of which, let's just jump onto the frequency response. So these are fairly neutral sounding. They do have a bit of a slightly dark sound to them. Now there is some kind of opinions going around on HeadFi and stuff that there is a drop in the mid-range frequencies, and it does make it sound a little bit off. I've not really experienced anything off about it. At first I did. It did sound a little sort of muffled with the female voices or something, but it's sort of gone away. It sounds really, really normal to me now, so I don't know what's weird about that. Of course, when it comes to the frequency response, even if there is some sort of a drop in the mid-range, it doesn't really seem to be pointing itself out when I'm listening to it, so it doesn't really bother me. The higher frequencies, they have no sibilance. They're really, really fast and they're really clear. They do sound really airy and sort of really open, as well as the way they sound. The whole soundstage sounds is quite a different experience. I mean, but the higher frequencies, they don't tend to sort of to splash all over the place. I mean, talking about the cymbals, which the Electrostats do, and it's actually supposed to be kind of like that. As far as the information that it picks out from the whole sound, what it is missing is I'd say some of the information within the atmosphere, which the Electrostats do pick up, and they can just make this whole different sense of the soundstage. And while these do have a big soundstage, they don't have the information around the different tracks and the different instruments. So that is a little bit missing. And you can definitely hear that it's missing when you compare it to an Electrostat. But once you're listening to it on its own, it's not really an issue. The mids are also really, really spot on. They're really good. And as far as the lower frequencies go, this is a tweeter that they've put into this sort of can over here, and they sort of had to make some adjustments to get the lower frequencies going. And I'll be honest with you, I'm really impressed with them. The lower frequencies are quite something on this, and these have the bass that you sort of get from a dynamic driver, which is really thick and it has a lot of impact. So these do have a lot of impact, unlike a bass that you get from a planar driver, which is really sort of watery sounding or holophonic in a way. While these Sundaras do have more bass extension, these have enough bass so I can actually feel the kick drum and also hear it, and that in my opinion is all you really need. And it really does have the impact behind the whole sound. So it does have really thumpy bass and it's really impressive. As far as the texturing goes and the speed, it's actually really fast as well. And one thing I want to touch on is the speed. So comparing these to the Sundaras, these are much faster. That was something I definitely picked up on when I first put these on. But comparing them to the Electrostats, they're not as fast. They're not quite there, so they're sort of almost like 50% there. And I know there's different variations of drivers as well, but as far as the speed goes, these are not on the same level of Electrostats. So if you've got some really expensive Electrostats and other headphones, such as the HE1s or the Orpheus or something, they will obviously sound better. The only thing is, if you do get a conventional, more, sort of in the same price range, Electrostat system, you might be missing out on the low end, which these do have. These have really good low end, if you ask me. So there's that. Sound quality wise, I really don't really have an issue with it. I mean, it sounds good on pretty much anything. It has a really big sound stage. Especially, I mean, it's just that sound stage that really stands out. If you're listening to orchestra or if you listen to acoustic music and everything, this will suit it because the tonality in the instruments is actually a lot better. I mean, the harmonics are a lot better. Again, I've said this, when I jumped from the Sundaras to these, there was that difference in the sense that it sounded more real. And so pianos and guitars and everything sound really good. And that also means that orchestral music and opera music and all that will have that same sense of just atmosphere and oomph behind it. So that is also really good on these. Sound quality wise, can't really say anything bad about it because these are the pinnacle of what I've heard right now. Let's talk about the comfort. Now these are big, really big actually, and you can actually see the driver. If you shine a light through there, you can actually see the driver and the way it sort of is made. Comfort wise, these are really comfortable, which is a bit funny. They are really heavy, so for some people they're not gonna work out. In fact, I actually bought these from someone who was not really happy with the weight, with how much they weigh, because it was hurting his neck, and so I bought these off of that person. But luckily for me, unfortunately, I don't really have an issue with the weight. When I put them on, they're just like any other headphones. The only difference is if I move my head around a bit, I can actually feel the weight on the headphones. But they are very comfortable. So the pads, they do go around my ear, so they're big enough that my whole ear fits in there, and on this side as well. The only thing is, when it comes to the adjustment, there's not really a lot. I mean, it does make enough of a difference for you to definitely feel it, but you can see it's not really all that much. And I know with the design that they've gone with, they're already really big. When you put them against other headphones, these are going to be like the big badass headphones, and also the sound is big and really badass. So compared to the Sundaras, these are really big, but I really think they should have gone with a similar design as with the Sundaras, which would have a headband over here, and then these would sort of have a metal band connecting them both together. In that way, you would get much more a better comfort, because I do feel like when I put them on, I keep having to adjust them a little bit to get them in the right position, because they do have quite a bit of clamping force, and when you sort of tilt your head down, they're not gonna fall off, although you can feel them sort of you can feel the weight, but they don't fall off. So they do have some clamping force. That's pretty nice. They are open back, and one of the things I realized is, unlike the Sundaras, where if you move your hand closer to the driver from the back when you're listening, you can hear a huge difference in the reflection of the sound. So you can hear that change. It gives you the sort of wah-wah effect. Now these don't have it as much. So when you move the hand closer and when you're listening, the sound does change. You can hear the deflections more, but it's not as dramatic as the Sundaras. The other thing is, when you take them off and when you're playing music, these AMT drivers are sort of very directional, sort of like Electrostar speakers. So when you listen to them from the outside, dead on, they do sound a lot better. And when you sort of tilt them off, the sound does go off a bit, which is very interesting as well. So that is a bit funny, because when I take them off and I'm listening and I hear them, they don't really sound all that loud. But then when you sort of move them a bit, it's like, oh my god, they are playing really, really loud. I mean, you can kind of really, really easily hear them. Sundaras, on the other hand, you can just hear that doesn't sort of almost happened. They're almost like omnidirectional. These are not. These are very directional. And I think that's how they sort of achieve the soundstage as well. Might be something you could look into, I suppose. So yeah, the adjustments not really impressive, but they are a bit heavy and they're big. But the comfort is really, really good. It would be more comfortable if they go on with a simple design. I mean, a similar design as the Sundaras. Now I do want to touch on something bad, and this is actually horrifying. It's really horrific, and that's the build quality. I did not. So these are built of really good quality materials, but they're not put together well. So one of the disheartening moments I've had is this connector. It wobbles. I mean, this thing is wobbling, which is something that you wouldn't really complain about. But considering the price of these, I mean, why you would expect me to start complaining? And I'm gonna do that right now. So this connector on the left one is fine, but the right one is loose. I don't know what the heck it is. It's not. It can't be the cable. It has to be the connector on the inside, and I don't really feel comfortable sort of moving it around a bit, because what if it just snaps off? I mean, I'm gonna have to get these repaired, which means I'm gonna have to send them off and stuff, which I'm not really happy with, because things do get lost in the post and stuff like that. So I'm not really happy with this. The other thing is the adjustment band over here is absolutely horrifying, because it's not strong enough to carry the weight of these drivers. So when you're adjusting it, and you sort of pick them up from the headband here, it just falls off. It just goes to the maximum, the longest. So yeah, the design wise, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I do wish they make another model that's much smaller, with a smaller driver. It's obviously not going to be the same in terms of like sound quality, but I would definitely buy that. A small little head audio headphone, that would be really cool. A bit more portable, may use less power as well. That'll be awesome. But yeah, adjustments not really a lot. They're okay though, but it's just mainly this whole construction of the headphone is not really all that impressive, and I'm just not really happy with it. I mean, the Sundars just blow these away in terms of construction. Yeah, that's about it really. I mean, I don't like the construction on it. It's absolutely horrendous. I mean, this design is just not really good for these headphones, and the way this whole thing rotates as you sort of adjust the heads out and in, it's not really good at all, because I don't know, the Sundaras, they do have a better design, because it just fits more, more people. So there's that. I mean, that's why they've also had to sort of make a second revision with the longer headband, and they didn't really change the whole design, because that'll probably take a long time and stuff. But yeah, anyways, whatever. The cable that comes with these I haven't really used, because it's garbage. This cable on the other hand might have the effects on the sound quality I'm hearing from these headphones. So yeah, there's that. But anyways, if you have any questions about these, let me know in the comment section below. When it comes to the price, I think these are definitely worth it. They're right up there. The sound quality wise, they're just quite different, especially with the soundstage. That's something that I don't think you can find on other headphones. The driver size is really big as well. I don't know really how big it is, but it looks big enough to me. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just really happy with the sound. Or you can probably see that here you can see my fingers at the back. It's sort of almost like it's based on a ribbon design, I suppose. Oh, look at this. You can actually break the headband. Oh yeah, that's good. Anyways, if you have any questions about these, ask me in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys in another video.